Every leader faces a timeless dilemma. Do I choose what works or do I choose what's right? Today, we dive into this crossroads of business ethics and leadership. The teleological versus deontological approaches illuminated through Indian knowledge systems. Why does this matter? Because it is not just theory. It shapes MBA exam answers, it defines interview success, it drives case study insights, and it guides real corporate decision making. Because every leader faces this question: should I decide based on result or based on principles? Ethics is not just about laws. Ethics is about what we ought to do. In business, leaders constantly face dilemmas. Should I fire 100 employees to save the company? Should I hide a mistake to protect the brand? Should I pay a bribe to get a contract? To answer such questions, philosophers developed two major ethical approaches. First is teleological, second is deontological. Let us understand them one by one. The word teleological comes from the Greek word telos, meaning end or result. So, teleological ethics judges an action by its outcome. If the result is good, the action is good. This approach is also called consequentialism. A company lays off 500 workers to prevent bankruptcy. Thousands of jobs are saved in the long run. Teleological thinking says, yes, the layoffs were painful, but the result saved the company, so it was ethical. While Indian knowledge system describe it through the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in which Lord Krishna speaks of Lok Sangraha, the welfare of society. Krishna tells Arjuna, act in a way that maintains social order and the greater good. This is teleological thinking. Arjuna must fight not for personal happiness, but for greater stability of society. So, Indian philosophy says that outcome for society matters. The word deontological comes from the Greek word deon, means duty. This approach says an action is right if it follows moral rules, regardless of the result. Here, principles come before profit. The business example is that a company refuses to pay a bribe, even if it loses the contract. Why? Because bribery is wrong, even if the outcome is profitable. This is deontological ethics. The Indian knowledge systems link is that in Indian philosophy, this is dharma. Dharma means duty, moral law, righteous action. In the Mahabharata, Bhishma followed duty even when it caused personal suffering. He believed that I must do what is right, not what is convenient. This is deontological ethics. Let's compare the two approaches side by side. Teleology is flexible and pragmatic, but risks moral compromise. Deontology is principled and consistent, but risks rigidity. Indian wisdom teaches balance. Artha, results, must align with dharma, principles. True leadership lies in discerning when to prioritize outcomes and when to stand firm on values. In MBA exams, interviews, and case studies, this dilemma often appears. Recruiters and professors want to see if you can balance pragmatism with ethics. For example, a company discovers a defect in its product. Should it recall the product, risking huge losses, or quietly fix it in future batches? A teleological answer: avoid recall, minimize damage, and protect jobs. While a deontological answer: recall immediately, uphold consumer safety and trust. The best leaders show awareness of both perspectives. So, what's the takeaway? Leadership is about navigating the tension between results and principles. Indian knowledge systems remind us that discernment lies in balance, artha and dharma together. As you step into exams, interviews, or boardrooms, ask yourself, Am I choosing results or principles? And how do I balance both? Because in the end, greater leaders are remembered not just for what they achieved, but for how they achieved it. The result oriented teleological approach is presented here through a story of Chanakya and the Arthashastra. Chanakya advised rulers to take pragmatic steps, even harsh ones, if they secured stability and prosperity. The lesson is teleology values the greater good, results that sustain society. So Chanakya reminds us that sometimes difficult decisions are justified if they secure long-term welfare. The second, principle-oriented Deontological approach is presented here through the story of Yudhishthira in the Mahabharata. Yudhishthira was bound by his principle of truth. Even when asked a tricky question in the war, he spoke honestly, leading to setbacks. The lesson is principles can sometimes cause short-term loss, but they define moral leadership. Yudhishthira's adherence to truth highlights the weight of duty over convenience. Modern leaders fail when they only chase profit, such that teleology without values, or follow rigid rules without compassion, such that deontology without wisdom. According to Indian knowledge systems, ethical leadership is the harmony of duty and welfare. This is how managers build trust, sustainability, and respect. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to Managologic for MBA level ethics, leadership, and management explained through Indian wisdom and real world cases.